What remedies are available when trademark misappropriation occurs? So when someone misuses a trademark, this causes confusion. So two main remedies do become available. The first one being courts can issue an injunction, and this is like to stop misuse immediately and prevent any further damage. And then second, the trademark owner can seek damages, meaning financial compensation for losses caused by the confusion. So for example, if a company uses a logo like too similar to another company's logo, the court might order them to stop and pay for any harm that was caused through any butterfly effect. And protecting a trademark is crucial to avoid losing it. Kind of like how aspirin became generic due to the lack of enforcement. Coca-Cola has told waitresses at restaurants not to serve or offer other colas when a customer asks for a Coke. What is the reason for this policy? What other companies run similar risk, and what policies might they create to protect themselves? So this is a super cool concept I never thought of, and Coca-Cola insists on policy to protect its trademark, which is why they do it. And so if Coke ends up becoming a generic term for any cola, they could lose their legal rights. And this is kind of what happened to aspirin, which is exactly what I mentioned in the last question. And Coke can also create policies like training employees to use their brand names correctly to really instill it. And also they can run ads to emphasize their name, Coca-Cola. And this will emphasize their unique identity. Or they can even create cease and desist letters to businesses misusing their names, kind of like a restaurant waiter. And that this ensures that the brand name stays distinct. So companies like Kleenex, Band-Aid, and Zoom, and Google are all kind of suffering this same potential consequence. Assume that Christian rock band Mercy Me debuted a new song in Fort Worth in April with the beginning lyrics, "Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?" Bart Miller, the lead singer, claims he had some old Queen CD. Yeah, you get that. Okay, so Queen likely won this lawsuit, even though it's clearly that they copied it if they're using this. Well, it depends on, I guess, how the song goes, but they won it when this lawsuit against Mercy Me. So to win, Queen must prove Mercy Me had direct access to their song and that the new song is substantially similar. Bart owning Queen's CDs suggest access, but the lyrics are just too generic. Is this just real life? Is this just fantasy? Like that just, you can't completely prove worth over that. And so basically, these are just short and not unique enough to be protected, but what copyrights do protect are longer original expressions, like 7 notes or more. So Queen's case would probably fail. Depends on the other details they had, but with the list they want to succeed. Discuss the difference between government intrusion and private corporate intrusion of our right to privacy. So government intrusion involves the state violating privacy, like in Carpenter v. U.S., where police accessed cell phone data and tracked where the cell phone was, and this was without a warrant, and this breached the Fourth Amendment. And private intrusion is kind of like when Google does this, but this is through like the terms and conditions you sign. Like they kind of have rights to do this, and this is less regulated by the government, so they can collect personal info, and technically with user consent, but it does conflict with convenience. And government intrusion is limited by constitutional rights, while private institution relies on weak self-regulation or future laws, leaving consumers way more vulnerable than government regulation. How does AI create unique issues related to privacy? So AI creates a lot of issues, some in my life, for example, but in a privacy standpoint, it does this by mining vast amounts of personal info, like data, from, for example, like from a YouTube video, and it puts that YouTube video into text for analysis without clear permission, and it pulls sensitive info from multiple sources, and it combines it in ways that individuals might not clearly consent to. And for example, so AI can track your location or habits and create detailed profiles using this information. So this raises concerns about who controls this data specifically and how is it used. And especially since there is no current law, since AI is still relatively new and we're still learning, its true capabilities. And we have laws like HIPAA or COPA, but they don't fully address these abilities that we don't yet fully understand. Compare and contrast disparate treatment and disparate impact. So disparate treatment is an intentional discrimination against an individual, like if you were to not promote someone because of their race, so as in Hithin v. Tyson Foods. And then so what you have to do is you must prove the employer that he meant to discriminate. And a disparate impact happens when a policy unintentionally harms a group, like a test that unfairly affects minorities, as in the Ricci v. De Stefano case. And then so treatment focuses on intent against one person, while impact focuses on the effect on a group, even if unintentional. In 2023, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned more than 50 years of affirmative action, especially among American universities. Explain the rationale, and do I agree or disagree? So, Students for Fair Admissions v. Harvard, the Supreme Court ended race-based affirmative action in college admissions, and that ruled 6-3. And they said this violated the Constitution. So the court said universities wrongly focused on race over, individual merit, SAT score, GPA, all that. And also kind of valued race over skills or, challenges overcome in their life, kind of like college essays. And I agree with this ruling. It feels a little weird speaking on it, but I had, friends that I saw, like for specific example, UT, I had friends that I knew had better GPAs, better SAT scores for the most part. They wouldn't get in, and their skin color was different than other people who had less of a merit and would get in. Feels weird speaking on it, though. For more than 50 years, with the goal of being above reproach, Billy Graham chose to treat men and women differently. Was he at risk of violating the Civil Rights Act when you make similar decisions for yourself in your career? So Billy Graham's Modesto Manifesto, avoiding being alone around women other than his wife, this could risk actually violating the Civil Rights Act. So if you apply it in a workplace, because it treats women differently, and this potentially limits their opportunities in the workforce, you could say. And a Baptist church, however, can use bona fide occupational qualifications to justify such practices. So it is different based on circumstance. Personally, I would still avoid these strict rules, just ensure equal treatment and focus, rather on professional conduct to uphold fairness and equality, just in my life and in the business world.